Hi, I'm Jacob. I'm with Group C. We're going to be talking about barriers of effective communication and power tactics. Filtering. This is when you're speaking with someone at work, usually you're higher up, where you actually are omitting information to make the current situation seem better than it really is. Selective perception. This is when a sender communicates with a receiver and the receiver doesn't actually hear what the sender is saying. They only take in what they want to take in based on their personal experiences. And ingratiation, it is essentially being a butt kisser to get what you want. For example, John goes up to Bob and says, "Bob, you are the best boss ever. Can I have tomorrow off?"
So now we're going to talk about legitimacy. That's relying on your authority position in business. Think about this as a supervisor and employee relationship. You're the supervisor, you're tasking out duties that need to be done to your employees, and you need to ensure and follow up that they're getting it done. And then we're going to move on to exchanges. That's rewarding the behavior that when you give out these requests you're seeing the results that you want, you're giving those rewards, whether that's a candy bar or money, whatever it is. And finally, we're going to talk about personal appeals. That's asking for compliance based on friendship. That's you getting to know your employees, saying, I want to know more about you. I'm going to work with you. Building those relationships will make sure that you can continue to drive your business.
Rational persuasion. With this influence tactic, logical arguments and factual evidence are used to show that a proposal or request is feasible. An example of this tactic would be proposing the purchase of new software that would automate certain workflow functions. Its price tag is hefty, so executives are hesitant. Presenting data reflecting the efficiency improvements and overall cost savings would persuade them to approve the purchase. Pressure. This tactic entails exerting pressure through demands, threats, warnings, or intimidation. An example of this tactic would be a manager telling his or employee, "The last person in your job didn't last very long. We wouldn't want you to make the same mistake." Coalitions. This tactic uses alliances and networks and enlists the aid or support of others. Unions are a common example of coalitions within organizations. Collectively, they're able to settle a variety of issues, including wages, hours, and safety rules.
Information overload is when the information that we're given exceeds our processing capacity. So when this happens, some individuals may ignore or even forget that information. An example is a conference call where you're given a lot of information at once and you must choose selectively what to do first. Emotions are the way that you interpret messages when you feel a certain emotion. So people with more negative emotions are more likely to judge a message, whereas people with positive emotions are more accepting of that message. An example is when your supervisor tells you that your team is receiving budget cuts. Depending on your emotions at the time, you're going to receive and interpret that message differently. Language is when your words mean something different to certain people. The two factors for this are age and context. And an example is if you're communicating with an older coworker, words to them may mean something different than words to you.
Going to be silence. So the element of silence pertains to your silence in the workplace. On a managerial level, it could mean refraining judgment or withholding information. This could have negative consequences because it could result in procedural mishaps. So as an example, if the element of silence was conveyed at a manager's safety meeting, especially in forms of a pertinent safety issue, this could result in putting the company at risk of a potential lawsuit. So moving on to communication apprehension, this is basically a severe form of social anxiety where an individual is not able to effectively communicate in an oral capacity. So since oral communication is an essential element in practically any business, it creates a significant barrier in communication. And lastly, lying in this context, it refers to employees that lie in order to get ahead at work or even to cover up mistakes. So oftentimes these lies could contain half-truths. So for example, an employee might still tell a partly true story, but may twist some of the facts in order to make themselves look better.
Inspirational appeals is defined as developing emotional commitment by appealing to a target's values, needs, hopes, and aspirations. Influencing others by getting them excited, building one's confidence. Best used by a compassionate leader who knows their subordinates and cares enough to build their confidence so they can reach their goal. It's considered a softer type of tactic. It uses a more subtle style of persuasion to motivate. In the end, it's a win-win for everyone. Consultation is defined as increasing support by involving the target in deciding how you will accomplish your plan. The consultation tactic assigns ownership in the decision-making process in reaching goals. A person may feel more inclined to finish a task if they themselves feel they were involved making the plan to complete it.